Hey Brad, just wanted to make a quick video for you going over the iron swing you sent me. Let's let it play through a few times. It's looking really good. I see some changes, but I also see a few little things that I think are going to improve your distance and make you a little bit more consistent too. So first, let's look at your tempo. It's really sped up, which is great. I used Robert Rock for kind of the slower tempo to compare, and you're at impact as he's just starting down, so a lot faster than him. And then if we compare to Rory, you're actually pretty close to his speed as far as tempo wise. So he's at impact and you're well on your way in the downswing. So this is really good. That was a great change. Keep working on adding some speed to that swing. So next, let's look at your swing with the alpha, beta, and gamma angles. So basically just the three ways the club can rotate. So an easy way to think of it is if there was an airplane on the club. So here's a picture of the airplane on the club. So the blue's the wings. In your picture, the green is going to be the body of the plane, and then the red is the tail. So the tail is going to be in line with the face of the club, so with the score lines. So let's play your swing through here. All right, so the big thing that we've talked about with your swing that I'd like to see changed is your takeaway. So if we look here, the center of mass of the club isn't getting up high enough, fast enough. So what I mean by that is if we look here, the orange is the center of mass. You see how it's inside the hands on the way back. So ideally, we'd like to see it in line with your hands and the club head. That's just a good blend of the rotations of the club, and it sets the right shoulder in a good position to continue your backswing. So if we look from there, you can see how it gets in and then it's too far deep, but then you start to bring it back into a pretty good spot. But like you mentioned, it's a little laid off and that face is a little bit open. Now there are players who have the club around that position, but they do a lot of twisting coming down. And where that club's pointing is generally where your swing direction is going to be. So for hitting those draws, I'd like to see that center of mass at the top of the swing more in line with your hands, so you get more of an even pull when you start the downswing. So if we look at an example of that, there's your center of mass compared to Rory's. So you can see club face is definitely a lot more open, and then that center of mass is behind the hands. So the one kind of different thing I think we're seeing from your swing where you're losing some distance is that top of the swing position, but it's your right wrist. So what I mean by that is, as we go back here, center of mass isn't up high enough, so it's too far behind. So your way to kind of bring it back is almost flexing your right wrist. So you see how it's in extension here, and I think you subconsciously know it's too far behind. So in order to get it, the center mass is too far behind. So in order to get it higher, you start flexing that wrist. So if we look at a still here, you can see just kind of a different position there. It's just not a set wrist. So what you do to compensate with that is you start to kind of pull down too fast, and that sets your wrist. But I think that's why we start seeing your arms moving before your body's moving. And I think that's where the lack of distance is coming from. So, all right, so how are we going to fix this? So let's start by looking, I think